Thomas Aquinas gives one of the most powerful proofs for the existence of God. He begins with the self-evident proposition that some things are in motion. This is self-evident because this does not need to be proven. It is obvious that some things are in motion. These fish right here on the screen are in motion. Now, when I say motion, I mean motion in the sense that Thomas Aquinas does, in the sense that Aristotle means it. I mean any type of change. Any type of change is considered motion. If somebody were to deny that some things are changing, then there is a different discussion that needs to take place. Then we need to argue about why you think nothing is changing. We need to argue about why you think you can't trust your eyes to see that things are moving and changing. Thomas Aquinas says next that whatever is in motion is put in motion by another. This is the first half of his proof. So if you see coffee being poured into a coffee mug, something has to be putting that coffee into motion. There has to be somebody there pouring the coffee. The reason why something must be put in motion by another is because motion is nothing else than the reduction of something from potentiality to actuality. If we look at this mug right here, the one on the left, that is a cold coffee mug. The liquid in that mug is cold. So it is potentially hot, but it's not hot yet. It's actually cold. Now, what can make that liquid hot? Whatever it is, whether it's water, milk, or coffee, something that's hot. It needs an agent that is hot to act upon it in order to make it hot. So it is right now potentially hot. But as soon as the fire heats it up, then it will become actually hot. Now, in that process where it is going from potentially hot to actually hot, that is called motion. Any type of change is motion, whether it's somebody gaining weight, whether it's somebody kicking a soccer ball across the field, or whether it's a cold cup of coffee turning into a hot cup of coffee. Any type of change is motion. This emphasizes the first proposition that Thomas Aquinas gave. In the world, there are some things that are changing. There are some things that are in motion. There are some things that are going from potential to actual. If something is going from potentially hot to actually hot, it has to be put in motion by something that is already actually hot. So that cold cup of coffee right there, it has to become actually hot by something that is already actually hot, the fire. It cannot become actually hot on its own. It cannot be potentially hot and actually hot at the same time. That would be a contradiction, and contradictions don't make any sense. And when I say contradictions don't make any sense, I mean contradictions don't match sense experience, and sense experience is how we tell that something is real or not. In the same way, if you have something that's put in motion, it cannot be itself potentially moved and actually moved. It cannot be the mover and the thing that is moved. There needs to be another agent that is the mover, that is actually moving. Whatever is in motion must be put in motion by another. That is clear, because something cannot be the source of its own motion. The second half of Thomas Aquinas' proof is that there can be no infinite regress of movers. What this means is that we cannot have an infinite amount of movers, because if we have an infinite amount of movers, we will never get to the present motion. If there is an infinite amount of movers, an infinite amount of causes of motion, then you would never see motion right now in front of your eyes. But you do see motion in front of your eyes. If there is an infinite amount of movers, then there would never be a first mover or a second mover. So if you have the soccer ball being moved by the basketball, and then the basketball being moved by some other ball, and then that ball being moved by some other ball, and that goes on infinitely, so there's an infinite amount of causes of motion, you would never reach the point where the soccer ball moves the football. But you do see that the soccer ball moves the football. You do see motion happening right now. So what this means is that we cannot have an infinite regress of movers. There must be some mover that started the motion, or else we wouldn't see any motion right now. But we do see motion right now. There must be a first mover. And if there is a first mover, that first mover can have no potentiality. It can have no potentiality because if something has potentiality, it must be moved by something that's actual. So the first mover cannot have any potentiality because that would mean it would not be the first mover. So the first mover must be full actuality. Now all physical things are potential. All physical things have the potential to be changed. That is part of the essence of physical things. Physical things are always changing and are always manipulated. So the first mover must be pure actuality with no physical dimension. The first mover must be pure immateriality. And this everyone understands to be God.